In this intriguing story titled, Husband and Wife Cheated on Each Other with Me But Don't Know, we're diving into a web of secrets, unexpected encounters, and hidden truths. Get ready to explore the captivating tale of Emma and Ryan, a couple whose seemingly perfect relationship takes a thrilling turn when new dynamics come into play. Through twists and turns, we'll unravel how one person becomes the secret link in their adventurous journey. Stay tuned as we navigate through this fascinating narrative of love, trust, and surprising connections. Emma lay back on the lounge chair, soaking in the warmth of the autumn sun that filtered through the leaves of the park. The air was filled with the gentle sounds of birds chirping and the distant laughter of children playing. It was a perfect Sunday, the kind of day meant for relaxation and minimal responsibilities. She could hear the rustle of leaves as the light breeze brushed through the trees, adding to the serene ambiance of the park. Ryan, her husband of 10 years, emerged from the nearby refreshment stand with 2 iced lemonades in hand. His footsteps were steady and familiar, a comforting rhythm that had become part of her weekends. He walked with a casual confidence, his tall frame casting a long shadow on the grassy path. Ryan was a man in his early 40s, with a chiseled jawline, short cropped hair that was starting to show hints of gray, and deep-set blue eyes that always seemed to be thinking of a joke or a plan. Today, he wore a light blue polo shirt and khaki shorts, his usual weekend attire. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" he remarked, handing her one of the lemonades. His fingers brushed against hers, a subtle, intentional touch that conveyed more than just the transfer of a drink. "It's perfect," Emma agreed, taking a sip of the cold lemonade. The tartness of the lemons mixed with the sweetness of the sugar, creating a refreshing burst of flavor. She felt the condensation from the glass trickle down onto her thighs, a small, pleasant sensation. "What's on the agenda today?" Ryan settled into the chair next to her, his expression turning slightly mischievous. A playful smile curled on his lips, the kind of smile that always made her heart skip a beat. "Actually, I was hoping you could do me a favor," he began, his tone casual yet loaded with a hint of anticipation. Emma raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the sudden shift in his demeanor. "A favor? What kind of favor?" Ryan took a deep breath, leaning back in his chair and gazing up at the canopy of leaves overhead. "You remember Jason from work, right? The new guy in the marketing department?" Emma nodded, recalling the few times she'd met Jason at company events. He was tall, with a disarmingly bright smile and an air of confidence that was almost palpable. Jason had a way of making everyone around him feel comfortable and engaged, a trait that had clearly made an impression on her. "Yeah, I remember him. What about him?" "Well," Ryan continued, "he asked me to pick up some project files from his house today, but I've got this conference call I can't miss. I was thinking you could stop by and grab them for me." Emma studied her husband's face, noting the careful way he was watching her reaction. "And let me guess, you want me to make it interesting?" she asked, a knowing smile playing on her lips. Ryan's grin widened, his eyes sparkling with amusement. "He did mention that he appreciates good aesthetics. Maybe you could wear that denim skirt you bought last week? The really short one?" A thrill ran through Emma, a mix of anticipation and excitement bubbling up inside her. Their open relationship had brought them countless adventures, each new encounter a fresh surge of energy and passion. She loved the way these experiences brought them closer, the way they communicated openly and honestly about their desires and boundaries. "Interesting indeed," she mused aloud. "I think I can manage that." Ryan leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I knew you'd be up for it. Just remember to be yourself and have fun." Emma laughed, feeling a wave of affection for her husband. "You always know how to make things exciting, don't you?" "Only for you," Ryan replied, giving her a quick kiss on the cheek before settling back in his chair. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, enjoying the beautiful day and each other's company. The park was alive with activity, but in their little corner, it felt like they were in their own world. An hour later, Emma stood in front of their bedroom mirror, inspecting her reflection. She had chosen a simple white tank top to go with the short denim skirt Ryan had suggested. The outfit was casual yet undeniably sexy, hugging her curves in all the right places. She decided to forego a bra, knowing it added an extra layer of allure. She brushed her long, dark hair over her shoulders and applied a touch of lip gloss, adding just enough shine to make her lips look inviting. Satisfied with her appearance, she grabbed her purse and headed downstairs. Ryan was waiting by the door, his eyes lighting up with approval as he saw her. "You look amazing," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Emma felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "Thanks. Wish me luck." Ryan gave her a reassuring smile. "You don't need it, but good luck anyway. Call me if you need anything." "I will," Emma promised, giving him a quick kiss before stepping outside. The sun was still shining brightly, casting a warm glow over everything. She took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of nerves and excitement. This was just another adventure, another chance to explore and enjoy the unexpected twists life had to offer. As she drove to Jason's house, Emma couldn't help but replay the conversation with Ryan in her mind. Their relationship had always been built on trust and open communication, and she loved how they continuously found ways to keep things fresh and exciting. This favor for Ryan was just another example of how they supported each other's desires and embraced new experiences. As Emma left the house, the thrill of the encounter left her buzzing with excitement. Little did she know, the real adventure was yet to come. Emma felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she drove to Jason's house. The suburban streets were quiet on this autumn Sunday, leaves gently falling from the trees and covering the sidewalks in a colorful blanket. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, each beat resonating with anticipation for what was to come. As she turned onto Jason's street, she took a deep breath, trying to calm her nerves. She parked her car in his driveway, admiring the neat and tidy exterior of his home. The modern design, with its clean lines and large windows, gave the house a sophisticated yet welcoming appearance. The front lawn was impeccably maintained, with a few autumn flowers adding splashes of color. Emma checked her reflection in the rearview mirror, making sure she looked presentable. The short denim skirt and white tank top clung to her curves, revealing just enough to be enticing without being too overt. She brushed her hair back and took another deep breath before stepping out of the car. As she approached the front door, she noticed a few more details about the house. The doormat was clean and simple, with the word, "Welcome," printed in elegant script. Potted plants flanked the entrance, adding a touch of greenery to the sleek, modern facade. She rang the doorbell and waited, listening to the sound of footsteps approaching from inside. The door opened, and Jason stood there, his smile broad and welcoming. He was dressed casually in a fitted t-shirt and jeans, his hair slightly tousled as if he'd been busy with something. His eyes widened slightly when he saw Emma, clearly taken by her appearance. "Emma, what a pleasant surprise. Come in," Jason said, stepping aside to let her enter. "Hi, Jason," Emma replied, stepping into the cool interior of the house. "Ryan asked me to pick up some project files for him. He's tied up with a conference call." "Of course, no problem at all," Jason replied, closing the door behind her. "I've got them in my office. Follow me." The interior of Jason's house was just as modern and well kept as the exterior. The furniture was sleek and minimalist, with large canvases of abstract art adorning the walls. The color palette was neutral, creating a calm and sophisticated atmosphere. The hardwood floors gleamed under the soft, natural light streaming in through the large windows. Jason led her through the hallway, which opened up into a spacious living area. A large, comfortable-looking couch faced a sleek, wall-mounted TV. A low coffee table held a few magazines and a vase of fresh flowers, their fragrance subtly perfuming the air. The kitchen, visible from the living room, was pristine and modern, with stainless steel appliances and granite countertops. As they walked, Jason glanced back at Emma, his eyes lingering briefly on her outfit. "You look great, by the way," he said, his tone casual but with an underlying hint of admiration. "Thanks," Emma replied with a smile, feeling a flush of warmth at his compliment. "It's a beautiful house you have here." "Thank you," Jason said, leading her to a door at the far end of the living room. "We like to keep things simple and clean. It's a good space for us." Jason opened the door to his home office, a spacious room with a large desk and shelves filled with books and various office supplies. A window overlooked the neatly manicured backyard, letting in plenty of natural light. The desk was organized, with a laptop and a few stacks of papers neatly arranged. "Here we are," Jason said, moving to his desk to retrieve the files. "I've been working on some new ideas for the marketing campaign. I think Ryan will be pleased." Emma leaned casually against the doorframe, watching him as he searched for the files. "I'm sure he will be. You've made quite an impression since you joined the team." Jason glanced up at her, a hint of a smile on his lips. "Thanks, that means a lot. I've been trying to bring some fresh perspectives to the projects." As he continued to look for the files, Emma felt a surge of curiosity. She had always found Jason intriguing, and this was a perfect opportunity to get to know him a bit better. "So, how's it been settling into the new job?" she asked, genuinely interested. "It's been great," Jason replied, finally finding the stack of folders he was looking for. "The team is fantastic, and I'm really enjoying the work. It's challenging but rewarding." Emma nodded, sensing there was more to his enthusiasm. "And how's everything outside of work? You mentioned trying to convince your wife to join you at the gym. How's that going?" Jason chuckled, turning to face her with the folders in hand. "She's actually lost some weight already. She's even thinking about getting breast implants." Emma feigned surprise, raising an eyebrow. "Really? That's a big decision. I guess it helps to know what you're getting into." Jason's gaze flicked down to her chest briefly before meeting her eyes again. "Yeah, I suppose it does." Emma took a step closer, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "Do you want to see what they feel like? To, help her decide?" Jason's eyes widened, a flush creeping up his neck. "Are you serious?" Emma nodded, biting her lip playfully. "Absolutely, but only if you think it'll help." Before Jason could respond, the sound of the front door opening echoed through the house. Emma glanced towards the hallway, her heart skipping a beat. "Is that your wife?" "No, that's probably my mother-in-law. She drops by unannounced sometimes," Jason said, a hint of annoyance in his voice. Emma smiled, stepping back. "Maybe another time then. We wouldn't want to give her the wrong impression." Jason agreed, handing her the files with a rueful smile. "Definitely another time. Thanks for coming by, Emma." As Emma left the house, the thrill of the encounter left her buzzing with excitement. She walked back to her car, the cool autumn air brushing against her skin, heightening her senses. Little did she know, the real adventure was yet to come. She started the car and drove home, her mind racing with thoughts of what had just happened. The flirtatious exchange with Jason had left her feeling exhilarated, and she couldn't wait to share the details with Ryan. As she pulled into their driveway, she took a moment to collect herself, replaying the encounter in her mind. Ryan was waiting for her in the living room when she walked in. He looked up from his laptop, a smile spreading across his face as he saw her. "How did it go?" he asked, clearly eager to hear about her visit. Emma set the files on the coffee table and sat down next to him, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "It was interesting," she said, a playful smile on her lips. Ryan raised an eyebrow, leaning in closer. "Oh, do tell." Emma recounted the visit, from Jason's reaction to her outfit to the almost too close encounter in his office. Ryan listened intently, his expression shifting from curiosity to amusement and then to excitement. When she finished, he let out a low whistle. "Wow, that sounds like quite the adventure," Ryan said, his eyes gleaming with pride and excitement. "Did you enjoy it?" Emma nodded, feeling a rush of warmth at his approval. "I did. It was thrilling and unexpected. I can't wait to see what happens next." Ryan leaned in and kissed her, his lips lingering on hers. "I'm glad you had fun. This is just the beginning, There's so much more to explore." Emma felt a shiver of excitement run through her. "I know, and I'm ready for it." As they sat together, sharing the moment, Emma felt a deep sense of connection with Ryan. Their relationship was built on trust, communication, and a shared desire for adventure. Whatever came next, she knew they would face it together, hand in hand. The autumn sun shone brightly on the day of the picnic, casting a warm, golden hue over the park. The air was crisp and fresh, the perfect weather for an outdoor gathering. Emma and Ryan had arrived early to set up, choosing a spot near a small grove of trees that provided a bit of shade and privacy. The park was bustling with activity, families playing, joggers making their rounds, and children laughing as they ran around. Ryan had spread out a large picnic blanket on the grass, its red and white checkered pattern adding a touch of classic charm to their setup. He was busy setting up the portable grill while Emma arranged the food on a small folding table. They had brought an assortment of snacks, sandwiches, and drinks, as well as some marinated meat for grilling later. Nearby, a cooler filled with ice kept their beverages chilled. Emma looked around, taking in the idyllic scene. The trees were a mix of vibrant yellows, oranges, and reds, their leaves gently swaying in the breeze. The park's pond, visible from their spot, shimmered under the sunlight, with ducks lazily swimming across its surface. She felt a sense of peace and contentment, happy to be spending the day with Ryan and their friends. As they finished setting up, Emma glanced at her watch. Jason and Megan were due to arrive soon. She felt a flutter of excitement mixed with a bit of nervousness, wondering how the day would unfold. The events of her visit to Jason's house were still fresh in her mind, and she couldn't help but wonder what might happen next. "Everything looks perfect," Ryan said, stepping back to admire their handiwork. He turned to Emma, a satisfied smile on his face. "This is going to be a great day." Emma nodded, returning his smile. "I think so too. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone." Ryan pulled her close, giving her a quick kiss on the forehead. "And I'm looking forward to seeing you in action," he teased, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Emma laughed, swatting him playfully on the arm. "Behave yourself. We have guests coming." Just then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Emma looked up to see Jason and Megan walking towards them. Jason was carrying a couple of folding chairs, while Megan had a large tote bag slung over her shoulder. They both waved as they got closer. "Hey, you two," Jason called out, his smile broad and welcoming. "Looks like you got everything set up nicely." "Hi, Jason." "Hi, Megan," Emma greeted them warmly. "We're glad you could make it." Megan smiled, her eyes bright with excitement. "Thanks for inviting us. This park is beautiful." "It really is," Ryan agreed, helping Jason set up the chairs. "We come here often. It's a great spot for a picnic." As they finished setting up, Emma couldn't help but notice how effortlessly Megan fit into the group. She was petite, with curly auburn hair and a warm, friendly demeanor. Her laughter was infectious, and she had a way of making everyone around her feel at ease. They settled into their chairs, the conversation flowing easily. They talked about work, shared stories from their recent vacations, and laughed about funny incidents. The atmosphere was relaxed and cheerful, with everyone enjoying each other's company. After a while, Ryan fired up the grill, the enticing aroma of marinated meat filling the air. Emma and Megan busied themselves with preparing the side dishes and setting out the plates and utensils. As they worked, Emma found herself chatting more with Megan, finding common ground in their interests and experiences. "So, how long have you been married?" Emma asked, curious to know more about Megan and Jason's relationship. Megan smiled, her eyes sparkling with affection. "We've been married for 5 years now. It's been an amazing journey." "That's wonderful," Emma said, genuinely happy for them. "Ryan and I have been together for 10 years. It's been quite a ride, but I wouldn't trade it for anything." Megan nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I know what you mean. Marriage has its ups and downs, but it's all worth it when you're with the right person." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of sizzling meat as Ryan flipped the burgers on the grill. He looked over at Emma and Megan, his face glowing with pride and satisfaction. "Lunch is almost ready, ladies. I hope you're hungry." "Starving," Megan replied with a grin. "It smells amazing." As they gathered around a table to eat, the atmosphere grew even more convivial. The food was delicious, and the conversation flowed freely. They shared stories and jokes, the laughter ringing out across the park. It was a perfect day, filled with good food, good company, and the promise of more adventures to come. As the afternoon wore on, they decided to take a break from eating and play some games. They brought out a frisbee, and soon everyone was up and moving. the air filled with the sounds of playful competition and friendly banter. Emma found herself paired with Jason in a game of catch, their movements synchronized as they tossed the frisbee back and forth. She couldn't help but notice the ease with which they communicated, their connection seemingly effortless. Jason's playful demeanor and quick wit made the game even more enjoyable. "You're pretty good at this," Jason remarked, catching the frisbee with a deft move. Emma laughed, tossing it back to him. "Thanks. I used to play a lot in college." "Well, it shows," he replied, giving her an appreciative smile. "Maybe we should have a rematch sometime." "You're on," Emma said, her competitive spirit ignited. Meanwhile, Ryan and Megan were engaged in a lively conversation nearby, their voices carrying over the sound of the game. Emma glanced over, feeling a sense of contentment wash over her. This day was turning out even better than she had hoped. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting a warm, golden light over the park, they decided to take a break and relax on the blanket. The conversation turned more personal, with Megan sharing some of her wilder college experiences, which included a few risque adventures. Emma noticed Jason's discomfort at his wife's tales, but also the intrigued glances he sent her way. "Why don't you show us how it's done then?" Ryan joked, nudging Emma playfully. Laughing, Emma stood up, took a shot of the whiskey that Ryan had brought, and then, in a bold move, lifted her top briefly. Cheers erupted around them. Spurred on by the lively atmosphere, Megan did the same. The mood shifted, becoming more charged, a mix of alcohol and adrenaline fueling their actions. As the night wore on, Jason excused himself to use the restroom. A moment later, he slipped Emma a sly look and motioned for her to follow him. Heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervousness, she excused herself and headed inside the small park restroom. In the restroom, Jason wasted no time. He pulled Emma close, his hands expertly moving aside her skirt as he knelt down. The thrill of the forbidden, the danger of possibly getting caught, heightened the intensity of the moment. When they returned to the picnic spot, pretending nothing had happened, the party continued unabated. But the alcohol was taking its toll, and soon both Ryan and Jason were visibly drunk, staggering slightly as they moved. Seeing the state of their husbands, Megan pulled Emma aside. "Let's get them to lie down in the bedroom. They need a break," she whispered. Emma nodded, and together they helped Ryan and Jason to the blanket, where both men collapsed, almost immediately falling into a deep sleep. "What now?" Emma asked, laughing softly at the situation. "I need another drink," Megan declared. "Let's go to the cooler." In the cooler, as Emma reached for the vodka, Megan suddenly stepped close, her hands reaching out to Emma. In a swift move, she pressed Emma against the picnic table, her lips finding Emma's in a bold kiss. Surprised but caught up in the moment, Emma responded, and within moments, they were undressing each other. Their encounter was passionate and unexpected, leaving them breathless on the picnic table. Just as they were gathering their clothes, Ryan stumbled towards them, squinting at them through his drunken haze. "Go to bed, Ryan," Emma said firmly, trying to sound more annoyed than embarrassed. "Get out of here." Mumbling incoherently, Ryan turned around and staggered back to the blanket, leaving Emma and Megan alone again. They looked at each other, a mix of amusement and confusion in their eyes. "That was something," Megan said, a flush on her cheeks. Emma nodded, her mind racing with the implications of what had just happened. "Definitely something worth remembering," she agreed, though she wondered what the morning would bring. As dusk settled over the park, the air cooling slightly, the group began to wind down. They sat around, chatting softly, the earlier excitement giving way to a more subdued atmosphere. Emma and Megan exchanged knowing glances, both aware of the shift in their dynamic. Finally, it was time to pack up and head home. They gathered their things, tidying up the picnic area and making sure nothing was left behind. The walk back to the cars was quiet, each of them lost in their own thoughts. Ryan, still a bit unsteady, leaned on Emma for support. "That was quite a day," he murmured, his words slightly slurred. "It sure was," Emma replied, her voice soft. "Let's get you home." As they drove home, the events of the day replayed in Emma's mind. She felt a mix of excitement, confusion, and a hint of apprehension. The morning sun streamed through the curtains, casting beams of light across the disheveled living room. Empty bottles and glasses littered the tables, a silent testament to the previous night's revelry. Emma, the first to rise, moved quietly through the house, her thoughts as tangled as the blankets left strewn on the floor. She brewed coffee, the aroma filling the kitchen, and sat at the table, her mind replaying the events. What had started as an innocent picnic had spiraled into something far more intimate and complicated. She wondered what the others were thinking, especially Megan. Ryan stumbled into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. His memory of the night was patchy at best. He blinked at Emma, a vague unease settling over him. "Did everything go okay last night?" he asked, trying to piece together the fragmented images in his mind. Emma handed him a cup of coffee, her expression unreadable. "It was an interesting night," she said neutrally, watching him closely. Before Ryan could respond, Megan and Jason appeared. Megan seemed unusually quiet, her eyes avoiding Emma's. Jason, on the other hand, looked as if he hadn't slept, his gaze restless and concerned. Breakfast was a quiet affair, with everyone nursing hangovers and a heavy silence hanging over the table. The air was thick with unspoken questions and unresolved tensions. Finally, Megan broke the silence. "Last night was unexpected," she began hesitantly. "I think we might have let things get a bit out of hand." Jason nodded, his voice low. "We probably should discuss what happened," he said, glancing at Emma and Ryan. "I mean, if we're all okay with that." Ryan, still piecing together his memories, looked from Jason to Emma. "I think that's a good idea," he agreed, his tone cautious. "We need to make sure everyone is on the same page." Emma took a deep breath, ready to confront the situation head-on. "Let's be open about it. Megan, last night, after you and I..." Megan interrupted, her face flushing red. "I know, I remember. And I'm not sure how I feel about it yet," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. The group agreed to discuss their feelings and boundaries. It was a difficult conversation, filled with awkward pauses and careful words, but it was necessary. They talked about consent, respect, and the importance of communication in their interactions. "We should have checked in with each other more," Ryan said, taking Emma's hand. "Going forward, if we're going to explore, we need to make sure everyone is comfortable at every step." As they cleaned up after breakfast, there was a sense of understanding and mutual respect that hadn't been there before. They had navigated a challenging situation, and though it was awkward, they felt more connected and aware of each other's feelings and boundaries. Emma watched the others, a thoughtful expression on her face. "This is something we'll definitely remember," she mused aloud, "but also something we can learn from." After breakfast, the atmosphere lightened considerably. They decided to go for a walk in the park to clear their heads and enjoy the fresh air. The park was just as beautiful as it had been the day before, the autumn colors vibrant and the air crisp and invigorating. As they strolled along the winding paths, the tension from the morning's discussion gradually eased. The familiar sounds of the park, birds chirping, children laughing, leaves rustling, helped to soothe their nerves and bring a sense of normalcy back to the group. Ryan walked alongside Emma, their hands occasionally brushing against each other's. "You know," he said softly, "I'm really proud of how we handled everything this morning." Emma smiled, feeling a surge of affection for her husband. "Me too. It wasn't easy, but I think it was necessary." They walked in comfortable silence for a while, simply enjoying each other's company. Nearby, Jason and Megan were deep in conversation, their expressions relaxed and open. It seemed that the morning's discussion had brought them closer as well. As they looped back towards the picnic area, Emma noticed a small, secluded clearing just off the main path. "Hey, why don't we sit here for a bit?" she suggested, pointing to the spot. "It's a nice place to take a break." The others agreed, and they made their way to the clearing. The grass was soft and inviting, and the trees provided a pleasant canopy of shade. They settled down in a circle, the atmosphere relaxed and friendly. Jason stretched out, leaning back on his elbows. "This is a great spot," he remarked, looking around appreciatively. "I'm glad we came out here." Megan nodded, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "I think we all needed this. A bit of fresh air and some good company. Ryan leaned forward, his expression thoughtful. You know, I've been thinking. Maybe we should plan more outings like this. It's a great way to unwind and spend time together. Emma agreed, feeling a sense of optimism. I'd love that. It's nice to take a break from our routines and just enjoy the moment. The conversation flowed easily as they sat in the clearing, sharing stories and laughter. The morning's tension had melted away, replaced by a renewed sense of camaraderie and understanding. They talked about future plans, both personal and professional, and shared their hopes and dreams. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, they decided it was time to head back. They gathered their things and made their way to the parking lot, the mood light and cheerful. It had been a challenging morning, but they had come through it stronger and more connected than before. On the drive home, Emma felt a deep sense of contentment. She glanced over at Ryan, who was focused on the road, and reached out to squeeze his hand. I love you, she said softly. Ryan smiled, his eyes warm and loving. I love you too, Emma. Always. They arrived home, feeling rejuvenated and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The events of the past day had tested their boundaries and their relationship, but they had come through it with a greater understanding of themselves and each other. As they settled back into their routine, they remained committed to maintaining open communication and respecting each other's boundaries. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and they were excited to see where it would take them. The next few days were uneventful, a welcome respite after the intensity of the weekend. Emma and Ryan focused on their work and enjoyed quiet evenings at home. They made a point to check in with each other regularly, discussing their thoughts and feelings openly. One evening, as they were sitting on the couch watching a movie, Ryan turned to Emma with a thoughtful expression. You know, I've been thinking about what Jason said about going slower next time. I think it's a good idea. Emma nodded, appreciating his consideration. I agree. We need to make sure everyone is comfortable and on the same page. Ryan smiled, reaching out to take her hand. I'm glad we're in this together, Emma. Whatever happens, we'll face it as a team. Emma squeezed his hand, feeling a deep sense of connection. Always, Ryan, always. The following weekend, they received a text from Jason inviting them over for dinner. Emma felt a flutter of excitement mixed with a bit of apprehension. She showed the text to Ryan, who raised an eyebrow. Looks like they're ready to talk some more, he said, a hint of curiosity in his voice. Emma nodded, feeling a surge of anticipation. I think so. Are you up for it? Absolutely, Ryan replied, giving her a reassuring smile. Let's see where this takes us. They arrived at Jason and Megan's house that evening, the setting sun casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. Jason greeted them at the door, his smile genuine and welcoming. Hey, come on in, he said, stepping aside to let them enter. Dinner's almost ready. The interior of the house was warm and inviting, with soft lighting and cozy furnishings. The delicious aroma of home-cooked food filled the air, making Emma's mouth water. Megan appeared from the kitchen, a friendly smile on her face. Hi, guys. It's great to see you. We're just putting the finishing touches on dinner. They settled into the living room, the conversation flowing easily. The atmosphere was relaxed and comfortable, with no hint of the tension from their previous encounter. They chatted about their week, sharing stories and laughter. As they moved to the dining room for dinner, the table was set beautifully, with candles casting a soft, flickering light. The food was delicious, and the conversation continued to flow smoothly. After dinner, they returned to the living room, where Jason poured glasses of wine for everyone. They sat in a circle, the mood shifting to a more serious tone. So, Jason began, his voice steady, we wanted to talk about what happened last weekend. We've been thinking a lot about it, and we wanted to share our thoughts. Megan nodded, looking at Emma and Ryan with sincerity. We really enjoyed spending time with you both, and we appreciate how open and honest you've been. We want to continue exploring, but we think it's important to set some clear boundaries and communicate more. Emma felt a sense of relief, glad that they were all on the same page. We feel the same way. Last weekend was intense, and we want to make sure everyone is comfortable and respected. Ryan nodded in agreement. We're in this together, and we want to make sure we're all on the same page. Let's take things one step at a time and check in with each other regularly. They spent the next hour discussing their boundaries and expectations, the conversation open and honest. It was clear that they all valued their friendship and wanted to make sure their exploration was respectful and consensual. As the evening drew to a close, they felt a renewed sense of connection and understanding. They had navigated a challenging situation and come through it stronger and more connected. On the drive home, Emma felt a deep sense of contentment. She glanced over at Ryan, who was focused on the road, and reached out to squeeze his hand. "I love you," she said softly. Ryan smiled, his eyes warm and loving. "I love you too, Emma. Always." They arrived home, feeling rejuvenated and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The events of the past day had tested their boundaries and their relationship, but they had come through it with a greater understanding of themselves and each other. As they settled back into their routine, they remained committed to maintaining open communication and respecting each other's boundaries. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and they were excited to see where it would take them. The next few days were uneventful, a welcome respite after the intensity of the weekend. Emma and Ryan focused on their work and enjoyed quiet evenings at home. They made a point to check in with each other regularly, discussing their thoughts and feelings openly. One evening, as they were sitting on the couch watching a movie, Ryan turned to Emma with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I've been thinking about what Jason said about going slower next time. I think it's a good idea." Emma nodded, appreciating his consideration. "I agree. We need to make sure everyone is comfortable and on the same page." Ryan smiled, reaching out to take her hand. "I'm glad we're in this together, Emma. Whatever happens, we'll face it as a team." Emma squeezed his hand, feeling a deep sense of connection. "Always, Ryan, always." The following weekend, they received a text from Jason inviting them over for dinner. Emma felt a flutter of excitement mixed with a bit of apprehension. She showed the text to Ryan, who raised an eyebrow. "Looks like they're ready to talk some more," he said, a hint of curiosity in his voice. Emma nodded, feeling a surge of anticipation. "I think so. Are you up for it?" "Absolutely," Ryan replied, giving her a reassuring smile. "Let's see where this takes us." They arrived at Jason and Megan's house that evening, the setting sun casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. Jason greeted them at the door, his smile genuine and welcoming. "Hey, come on in," he said, stepping aside to let them enter. "Dinner's almost ready." The interior of the house was warm and inviting, with soft lighting and cozy furnishings. The delicious aroma of home-cooked food filled the air, making Emma's mouth water. Megan appeared from the kitchen, a friendly smile on her face. "Hi, guys. It's great to see you. We're just putting the finishing touches on dinner." They settled into the living room, the conversation flowing easily. The atmosphere was relaxed and comfortable, with no hint of the tension from their previous encounter. They chatted about their week, sharing stories and laughter. As they moved to the dining room for dinner, the table was set beautifully, with candles casting a soft, flickering light. The food was delicious, and the conversation continued to flow smoothly. After dinner, they returned to the living room, where Jason poured glasses of wine for everyone. They sat in a circle, the mood shifting to a more serious tone. "So," Jason began, his voice steady, "we wanted to talk about what happened last weekend. We've been thinking a lot about it, and we wanted to share our thoughts." Megan nodded, looking at Emma and Ryan with sincerity. "We really enjoyed spending time with you both, and we appreciate how open and honest you've been. We want to continue exploring, but we think it's important to set some clear boundaries and communicate more." Emma felt a sense of relief, glad that they were all on the same page. "We feel the same way. Last weekend was intense, and we want to make sure everyone is comfortable and respected." Ryan nodded in agreement. "We're in this together, and we want to make sure we're all on the same page. Let's take things one step at a time and check in with each other regularly." They spent the next hour discussing their boundaries and expectations, the conversation open and honest. It was clear that they all valued their friendship and wanted to make sure their exploration was respectful and consensual. As the evening drew to a close, they felt a renewed sense of connection and understanding. They had navigated a challenging situation and come through it stronger and more connected. Over the next few weeks, Emma and Ryan settled into a new routine that incorporated more regular and open communication about their feelings and boundaries. They continued to meet with Jason and Megan, each encounter further solidifying their friendship and understanding of one another. One Saturday evening, Emma and Ryan hosted a small dinner party at their house. They invited Jason and Megan, along with a few other close friends. The air was filled with the aroma of roasting chicken and fresh herbs, and the table was set with Emma's best china, creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere. As they sat around the table, the conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter and shared stories. Emma felt a deep sense of contentment as she watched her friends interact. It was moments like these that made all the challenges worth it. After dinner, they moved to the living room for dessert and coffee. The mood was relaxed, and as the evening progressed, the conversation turned more personal. Jason and Megan shared more about their own relationship, their hopes, and their fears. "You know," Megan said thoughtfully, "I've been thinking a lot about our boundaries and how we can ensure everyone feels respected and valued. It's not always easy to navigate these new dynamics, but I think we're doing a good job so far." Ryan nodded in agreement. "Absolutely. I think the key is to keep talking, to keep checking in with each other. We need to be honest about our feelings and make sure we're all comfortable." Emma felt a surge of affection for her husband and their friends. They had come so far in such a short time, and she was proud of how they had all handled the challenges. "I agree," she said. "This journey has taught me a lot about trust and communication. I feel closer to all of you because of it." Jason smiled, raising his coffee cup in a toast. "To trust and communication," he said. "May we continue to grow and learn together." They clinked their cups together, the sound ringing softly through the room. It was a moment of unity and shared purpose, a reaffirmation of their commitment to each other and to the path they were on. As spring approached, bringing with it new beginnings and fresh opportunities, Emma and Ryan found themselves looking forward to the future with renewed enthusiasm. They had grown as individuals and as a couple, and their relationship with Jason and Megan had deepened into a true friendship. One weekend, they decided to take a trip together to a cabin in the mountains. It was a chance to get away from the hustle and bustle of daily life and to spend some quality time together in a peaceful, natural setting. The cabin was cozy and rustic, nestled among towering pine trees with a stunning view of the mountains. Inside, a roaring fire in the stone fireplace provided warmth and comfort, and the scent of pine and wood smoke filled the air. As they settled into the cabin, the sense of anticipation and excitement was palpable. They spent their days hiking through the forest, exploring the beauty of nature, and their evenings gathered around the fire, sharing stories and laughter. One evening, as the fire crackled and the stars twinkled in the clear mountain sky, Emma and Megan found themselves sitting together on the porch, wrapped in warm blankets. "Can you believe how much has changed in the past few months?" Megan asked, her voice soft and reflective. Emma nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars. "It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've learned so much about myself, about Ryan, and about what it means to truly connect with someone." Megan smiled, reaching out to squeeze Emma's hand. "I feel the same way. This experience has brought so much growth and understanding into my life. I'm grateful for it, and for all of you." As they sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars, Emma felt a deep sense of peace and contentment. The journey they had embarked on was far from over, but she knew that whatever came next, they would face it together, with trust, communication, and a shared sense of purpose. The trip to the cabin had brought them even closer, and as they returned to their daily lives, they carried with them the lessons they had learned and the bonds they had strengthened. Emma and Ryan continued to explore new aspects of their relationship, always ensuring that they communicated openly and respected each other's boundaries. Their friendship with Jason and Megan grew stronger, and they became a close-knit group, supporting and encouraging each other through life's ups and downs. One evening, as they sat together on their porch, watching the sunset, Ryan turned to Emma with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I've been thinking about the future and what it holds for us," he said. There's so much more we can explore, so many new experiences waiting for us. Emma smiled, her heart filled with love and excitement. I know, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us. As long as we're together, I know we'll make it through anything. Ryan took her hand, squeezing it gently. Together, always. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the landscape, Emma felt a deep sense of gratitude for the path they were on. It had been a journey of growth, discovery, and connection, and she knew that whatever the future held, they would face it with courage and love. Looking back on the past year, Emma and Ryan reflected on the journey they had taken. It had been a time of growth and change, filled with challenges and triumphs. They had learned the importance of trust, communication, and respect, and their relationship had grown stronger as a result. Their friendship with Jason and Megan had become a source of joy and support, and they looked forward to many more adventures together. They knew that life would continue to bring new experiences and opportunities for growth, and they were ready to embrace them with open hearts. As they sat together, watching the sunset and reflecting on their journey, Emma felt a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. She had learned that true connection comes from being open and honest, from embracing the unknown, and from facing challenges with courage and love. With Ryan by her side and their friends supporting them, she knew that the future was bright and full of possibilities. Whatever came next, they would face it together, with trust, communication, and a shared sense of purpose. And so, their journey continued, filled with love, growth, and the promise of new horizons. As we reach the end of this captivating story, husband and wife cheated on each other with me but don't know, we reflect on the twists and turns that brought Emma, Ryan, and their unexpected connection to this point. Their journey has been one of discovery, challenging the boundaries of trust and communication. Despite the complexities and secrets, they've learned valuable lessons about love, honesty, and the importance of open dialogue. As the dust settles, Emma and Ryan find themselves stronger and more united, ready to face whatever the future holds. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling ride. Stay tuned for more stories that delve deep into the intricacies of human relationships.